Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel again. I know it's been for weeks since I posted last. Or probably very little. So, I just watched my best friend's friend's channel today. That he and his friends were she and her friends were having a conversation about being bullied, traumatized, and with the autism spectrum. So that got me to talk about when that first happened to me back in earlier middle school, like middle school closer to my old house. So well, at my first middle school where I went to, I think there was that one time that there was some event going on at my middle school where I went to, where it was a piece of dog crap. Um, as soon as when everyone was going right upstairs to the next floor, um, I was going where they're going since I could have gone to the different way, but there was so many people going upstairs, and they were like fighting and pushing each other, and then stuff like that, which got me so upset. And when I was like heading to my sixth grade social studies class to wait in line, and all of a sudden, and then I was standing somewhere searching around the hallway, and then this crazy guy was saying to me was how insane he was, how he was a bully. He was like, "You're my brother," and "I'm not your brother." He was like, "Yes, you are." And then that guy was harassing me since he was absolutely a nut hole, like a nut job. Okay, so far I've had some good days. I've had some good days in middle school, very little. But then, but the beginning of 2013 of me being in middle school, like every time we went to our last period class, those people that were bullies just went off on me and tried to make fun of my life, of my socialness and stuff like that. And like this guy named Nino kept saying, Nino Bia was like kept saying that I'm mean or something like that. And like he used to do that every single day, and then trying to make fun of my life. And although Nino was kind of a thief, like this angry guy named Josh who had problems, he and other idiots were taking stuff from his desk, and then like his pencil stuff, and then saying it on top of the bookshelf or the cabinet, and he wasn't able to reach it to get it down. But and and then one time Nino called me names like a baby, which wasn't cool, back in the morning. And yeah, every day he's always kept saying that I was mean. And then and this guy named Carlos, who was absolutely a hell of a nut. Um, he was somehow out of control at some point, and like he was making fun of this angry guy named Josh to manipulate his life. And then kept calling him a stupid name like a sausage and stuff like that. And I remember Josh, he was so insane, yelling all over campus over his anger issues due to some bullies making fun of him. Well, this is ridiculous how the bullies gave me to take their side to make fun of that guy, but I would have had a better brain like the adult as a 12-year-old and just care for others, but yeah, and then I've and then and then well, definitely I've some people were just giving me problems and stuff like that, and then sorry, I'm just trying to think for a minute. And there's also another antisocial guy named Storm. I met him in Hopi when he first moved to Hopi, and right when I moved into Hopi, and then I was not interested in meeting him. And then he was somehow shy and had some problems. Like he had problems throughout his life. Well, all of a sudden in middle school, I had no idea how to ignore other students and then just mind my own business to not listen to them or anything. And then all of a sudden, I kept bossing those bullies to be respectful. And, well, Storm just turned into a jerk back in second semester of our 6th grade year. And then he was trying to suicide my life, and so far I've been going through middle school quite a lot. And then all of a sudden I kept jumping into other people messing around and having hard days and stuff like that. Even the guy named Storm, who had some problems, like how he wasn't being nice anymore since, well, all of a sudden, I keep going through this that every time during priorities at my old middle school, I just kept talking about stuff I enjoyed during priorities when I didn't have any schoolwork to do, and that had to annoy other people, even Storm. And he kept shushing me to be quiet, and I kept disobeying him. Well, um, I wish I was not social with talking to myself in front of other people in middle school and then just remain silent so they don't get to hear me. But yeah, and I've done that in 7th grade year, and then and also how I was traumatized in middle school. In 7th grade Ames test one time, this guy named Storm was setting a pile of his Starburst on the table, and then I thought he was giving it to every of us, even since I took it without his permission. And he was like, "No, Alex." And then the second time he said my name was unbelievable. Like his mouth was unbelievable. The way he said my name like that was not cool, since that was his fault and he hurt my feelings. And well, I could have been quiet around him, of course, but all of a sudden, my rest of the time being in school with them, Storm was a jerk. He had some problems. He had some social problems. And if I'm ever around him, I'll just be quiet and then just talking to myself in my head. And that's all. Anyway, um, and then this guy named Chris, um, who is 2 grades above than me, um, he was somehow an asshole. Somehow like he just didn't care about my needs, what I needed him to do, and stuff like that. And then since I told someone named Nino to stop teasing me, giving me bad teases, and then he kept telling me to shut up every single time when I asked them to stop teasing me, and that's all. That guy was a nightmare. And then in the other classroom, he was like, and then I told him he was like stepping on my stuff on my backpack, and then he got back at me to step on my backpack again. That guy was a nightmare, complete shit. Oh yeah, and seventh grade was decent though, but I did get bullied somehow. Like when there was some new people were showing up to go to school at in the middle school where I went to the old times, and this girl named Angelina was new at school, and then she became a bully and somehow she was bullying me at the sudden, even in class. Well, right when we were going to lunch, um, I left my jacket in the classroom, and I went back to go get it, and then I went into the classroom and said I forgot my jacket, and then Angelina said that you forget your jacket, and I was like, hey, she must have said I forgot my jacket, but no, it was me who I forgot my jacket. And she was like telling me to crap on myself, and well, good thing she doesn't exist in my life again. And then I used to go to speech once a week in school lunch, even in 7th grade. And then there's on one time I was talking out loud to somebody who I was familiar with and around her, and then she was like, get out of here. Angelina was a suicidal nut job. She was absolutely a bully, and she was nothing respectful. All right, and all of a sudden, there was that one time on game day right before spring break. I kept complaining to come up with some even around her, and that overloaded her brain, and then she started raising her voice at me and stuff like that, and then right up to my face, and I told her not to talk to me like that, and then she was like, I just did. She was out of her mind. Like, yeah, well, I bet she had no friends to hang out with, and I bet Angelina's poor, but and I remember this kid named Joseph was hyper when he was in 6th grade, and when I invited him to my birthday party once, after eating that cake, he was out of control in the car to try to mess around on other people, and then mess around in the car and stuff like that, to like open the car door and stuff like that. and I must have made a mistake to invite him to my party. But oh, and this guy. Oh, I think one more thing. This new guy named Chris, who is in 8th grade, one grade above than me. For then, every time we were going to our second hour class to LRC, he kept calling me names like crybaby and stuff like that, even going up the stairs. And there's that one time he called me a baby, and which was unacceptable. I told him I'm not, and he just like hurt my feelings in the second hour classroom and got me uncomfortable in class. And then luckily I didn't cry, of course. What if I would have? But and all of a sudden at my old middle school, I was supposed to learn how to ignore other people, to mind my own business, to focus on myself, and then I couldn't see how to ignore other people, since that's why teachers had to get rid of me to go to a different middle school. And I didn't like that middle school because teachers were kind of annoying and stuff like that, and that's all. Oh, this guy named Angel, he made fun of my age in the bus evacuation drill one time. And there was this one time that when the bell rang, I got out of the classroom right in front of him, and he pushed me. And he pushed me, and I was so pissed off at him, and he was trying to make fun of it, my life while I'm trying to work. And I remember in the LRC, this guy named Chris was telling me that there's a fire alarm to pull in the classroom. He's done it every single day. Those guys were assholes and they're complete nut jobs. Yeah, well, no thanks to those guys in that area. But I think that's all I wanted to add in. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.